Hello children, today we will discuss the chapter 11 of your book and the 6th chapter of your syllabus, that is motion and measurement of distances. So as the name indicates, the first topic which is to be discussed is motion. What is motion, bache? When an object changes its distance with respect to a reference point, that is known as motion. जब कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट एक रेफरेंस पॉइंट के मुकाबले, एक रेफरेंस पॉइंट के रेफर में अपना डिस्टेंस चेंज करता है, अपनी पोजीशन चेंज करता है, then that object is said to be in motion. For example, I am standing right here, बच्चे, मैं यहाँ खड़ा हूँ. With respect to this switchboard, with respect to this whiteboard, I am not changing my distance. The distance between me and this remains same. But as I start walking, now the distance between me and that switchboard increases. That means now I am in motion, because with respect to this reference point, I am changing my place. I am changing my distance. That is what the motion is all about. When any object changes its place, its distance with respect to a reference point, then that object is said to be in motion. तब हम उसे क्या बोलते हैं? वो object motion में है. Take another example, बच्चे. If I place this marker, this whiteboard marker in my pocket, and now I am walking. Now, with respect to this board, this marker is in motion. But with respect to my body, this marker is at rest. बच्चे, मेरे रिस्पेक्ट में ये मार्कर चल नहीं रहा. हमारे बीच का डिस्टेंस क्या रहा है? ऐसे, क्योंकि मैं जहां जहां जा रहा हूं मेरी पॉकेट में है ये. बट इस बोर्ड के रेफरेंस में ये मार्कर चल रहा है. द सेम थिंग हैपनिंग व्हेन यू ट्रैवल बाय अ कार. यू नेवर वॉक इन द कार. बच्चे, हम कभी भी कार में बैठकर चलते नहीं हैं. When we sit in the car drives on its own. कार अपने आप, बस हम स्टीयरिंग व्हील पकड़ते हैं और एक्सेलरेटर दबाते हैं, कार चलती है, ड्राइवर चलाता है उसको. हम उस कार में बैठे हैं, हम उस कार की रिस्पेक्ट में, रेस्ट में हैं. बट आउटर सराउंडिंग्स और रोड के कंपैरिजन में हम मोशन में हैं. सो दिस इज what is referred to a relative motion. When the motion is related to a reference point, that is known as relative motion. But in summer vacations or in any sort of vacations, when you go to roam somewhere or you will visit some place during your summer vacations, then you travel a certain distance. Then you travel a particular distance. For example, if you want to go from Delhi to Chandigarh, then the distance between those two cities is approximately 250 to 300 kilometers. So that is the distance that you should have to travel to go from one city to another. So this is what the distance is all about. And how we measure that distance, that we will study in this chapter. But before that, we first study the story of transport. At first, people used to travel on their feet. They used to travel on their feet, but they used to travel by their foot. Then, after that, people domesticate the animals. Domestication of animals is increased. You know, people used to domesticate the horses, the cows, the buffaloes, and those animals help the people to travel from one place to another. पहले बच्चे लोग पैदल चलते थे, फिर धीरे धीरे लोगों ने जानवरों को पालना शुरू कर दिया, डोमेस्टिकेशन शुरू कर दी, एंड देन दोज डोमेस्टिकेटेड एनिमल्स हेल्प देम और हेल्प दोज पीपल टू ट्रैवल. लोग फिर बच्चे घोड़े पर बैठकर जाने लगे, गाय और भैंसों का इस्तेमाल करने लगे बच्चे. उसके बाद द डिस्कवरी ऑफ व्हील makes the transportation more sufficient, more convenient and more easy for the people. उसके बाद बच्चे व्हील डिस्कवर हो, पहिया. पहले वुडन व्हील्स आए थे सबसे पहले, तो बच्चे उन व्हील्स ने हेल्प की so that we can form carts. The bullock carts or the horse carts, घोड़ा गाड़ी या फिर जो बुलक गाड़ी होती है बैल गाड़ी, उसके बाद उन्होंने ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को और इजी बना दिया. Then after that, steam engine was discovered. The engine which produced steam by the combustion of a fuel. This engine works on the burning of a fuel. इसमें एक ईंधन जलाना पड़ता है, like coal, कोयला. When coal burns, it produces heat energy, and that heat energy is enough to derive that steam engine. और उस steam engine को derive करने के लिए, चलाने के लिए वो energy काफी है. There are certain then, various transportation means were discovered by the discovery of steam engine, that is motorboats, which used to travel on water, trains. All those means of transport were earlier based on steam engines. But nowadays, petrol and diesel operated cars are used. We are using cars which are diesel or petrol based. Next, in recent times, we are more inclining towards electric vehicles. They are more eco-friendly as compared to the other, steam engine and the petrol and diesel operated transportation measures. इनके मुकाबले ये ज्यादा इफेक्टिव है बच्चे, ज्यादा इको फ्रेंडली है. Why? Electric vehicles do not cause any pollution. They are pollution free. And you must have seen the e-scooters, which are very common nowadays. The e-auto rickshaws, which are very common nowadays, which are referred as Garuda. So these electric vehicles, like electric cars, also are there. So these vehicles will work on the basis of electric batteries, which store the electric energy, and that stored electrical energy is then later used up for their working. So these electric vehicles are more convenient and more eco-friendly vehicles. Now we will discuss measurement. What is measurement, बच्चे? In Hindi, measurement is referred as मापना. किसी भी चीज को हम जब मापते हैं बच्चे, that is known as measurement. For example, if you go to a tailor for that, measurement of your body, then that tailor use a long strip of plastic which is used to measure the width, the length of your shirts or whatsoever you want to stitch. So that is what the measurement is taken by that particular tailor. You must have seen a carpenter who is making the boards in our houses, or the cardboards. Those cardboards are first measured by the help of a tape that is known as measuring tape. उसे measuring tape बोलते हैं. So that things which is done by that particular individual is known as measurement. But measurement is always taken as a comparing unit, as a comparison unit with a standard international unit. First scientists, what they did was, they fix a particular unit. They make a standard unit. सबसे पहले बच्चों साइंटिस्ट ने एक चीज फिक्स की कि 1 मीटर इतना होगा या इतना होगा, जितना भी 1 मीटर होगा उसे फिक्स किया गया पहले. 1 kg मास पहले फिक्स कर दिया गया कि इतने मास को हम 1 kg बोलेंगे, और उसके बाद उसके कंपैरिजन में बाकी यूनिट्स निकाली कि अगर 1 kg जितने 2 मास है तो उसे 2 kg बोलेंगे, 1 kg जितने 3 मास है तो 3 kg. मेरा मास 78 kg है बच्चे, तो इसका मतलब मेरे अंदर 78 मल्टीप्लाई 1 kg, 1 kg जितने मेरे अंदर 78 टोटल मास के पार्टिकल्स हैं. So that's how we measure something. What is measurement? It is the process of comparing the unknown quantity which we don't know of an object with the standard unit of measurement. That comparison is known as measurement. So what is measurement? Bache, it is the process of comparing the unknown quantity of an object to be measured with the standard unit of measurement, that is known as measurement. That process is known as measurement. For example, if you ever visit a fruit or vegetable shop and whenever you buy the fruits, then the fruits are measured in kilograms, in mass. So the quantity which we are measuring in that case is mass. We never bought the mangoes by their height. हम कभी height के according mango नहीं खरीदते. हम कभी volume के according banana नहीं खरीदते. They are measured according to their mass. किसके according खरीदते बच्चे? Mass. कितने किलोग्राम है? We never buy potatoes according to their number. मुझे 10 potato चाहिए. We never said that. We always said either we want half kg, 1 kg or 2 kg of potatoes. So that is the fixed unit which we use for that particular physical quantity. If you want to measure the length, you will never measure it in kilogram. You will never measure it in meter square. Length, distance, height or depth is always measured in meters. So this is what the measurement is. You every morning you walk up, get ready for the school. Then what unit you measure? Time. And what time I should wake up, at what time I should go to take bath, and at what time I should go to the bus stop for my bus to come by and pick me up. So that is the particular physical quantity which we use at a given particular time. So next question is, what is a physical quantity? Any quantity that can be measured by a particular fixed unit, that quantity is known as a physical quantity. Any quantity which we can measure easily is known as a physical quantity. For example, mass. Mass is a physical quantity which we measure in kilograms. The SI unit, the standard international unit of mass, is kilograms. There are other units as well: grams, milligrams, quintals, tons, metric tons. These are other units of other units of mass. But the standard international unit of mass is kilogram. The length, depth, height, all these are measured in meters. But there are other units of distance as well: centimeters, millimeters. But the standard international SI unit of distance is meters, represented by small m. Next, time. We measure time in seconds. There are certain activities when we measure time. Which activity? In how much time you will cover that particular race. At that time, we will measure the time. In 10 seconds, in 20 seconds, in 1 hour, you will cover that particular distance. You will cover that, the race track. In how much time you will do your exam paper. That is also an activity in which you will measure time, not length. In certain ways, we measure the distance as well. My hand cannot reach up to that end. What is that distance? So, this is the measurement of distance. My hand can only reach up to that height. So this height is the measurement of distance, measurement of the length, particular length, that is in either meters or in centimeters. Likewise, you can measure the mass. What is the mass of this marker? What is the mass of my body? These are the certain activities in which we measure mass. I went to the grocery shop to buy sugar. I bought 2 kg of sugar. That means I measured the sugar in kilograms. That means we are measuring the mass. So these are certain activities by which we can measure the mass, distance or time in different scenarios. Now we will discuss the units which we use to measure something. What is measurement, bache? Measurement is something which we measure. A physical quantity is measured by comparing it with a fixed unit, that is known as measurement. For those measurements, we have certain units. Before discussing the standard or present units, first we'll discuss what are the units which we discussed in our earlier times, or units which we are still used for a rough measurement. For rough measurement, nowadays also we are using the unit like hand span. What is hand span? This distance from this tip of the thumb to this tip of the last finger is known as a hand span. Next is cubit. The length of the arm is known as cubit. This is 1 cubit. This is 2 cubits. This is 3 cubits. So this is cubit. The next is pace. The length of one, basically you can say the step. Suppose this is 1 feet and this one is the other one. The length between these two is known as 1 pace. That is referred as 1 pace. Next is foot. The length of single foot is known as foot. Next, fathom. What is fathom? The stretched arms are considered as 1 fathom. That is, the length from this tip to this tip when I stretched my arm, that is known as 1 fathom for me. It is approximately 6 feet. This is fathom. So these were the units, these were the rough units which we used in our earlier times. The first one is hand span. The length of this tip to this tip is known as hand span. Cubit. The length of the arm till this bend is known as cubit. Next is pace. The distance between one step of a normal person is known as cubit. Foot. The length of the foot. Next, fathom. The length of the stretched arms is known as fathom. Now we will measure the the length of this board by these units, or you can say I'll show you how we use those units. First we will use hand span. For example, I want to measure the length, the width, or you can say the width of this board. This is 1 hand span. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7.5. So till here the 8th hand span will be. So you can say this board is of approximately 7.5 hand spans. If you have any elder sister or younger brother at your home, ask him or her to measure this board. You will see certain variations in it. हम देखेंगे बच्चे कि अगर कोई और इंसान जिसके हाथ की जो हैंड स्पैन की जो लेंथ है हमसे अलग है. Why? Because every human being has his own hand span, his length of own hand span. बच्चे हर किसी की जो हैंड स्पैन की लेंथ है वो डिफरेंट है. अगर वो डिफरेंट है बच्चे तो ये मेजरमेंट भी क्या आएगी? डिफरेंट. लेकिन क्या ये बोर्ड डिफरेंट मेजरमेंट्स का है? नो. सो हैंड स्पैन इज नॉट रिलायबल and not accurate. Why is it not reliable and accurate? Because the hand spans varies from one person to another person. Hand span हर person का दूसरे person से अलग है. Next, cubit. If I want to measure the length of this board by the help of cubit, 1 cubit, 2 cubit, 3 cubit, and from here it is approximately of 4 cubits. Arm lengths. The length of the cubit is also not same for every individual. That is why cubit is also not accurate and reliable. Now we'll discuss pace. Now we will measure the distance by the help of pace. For me, the length between this feet and this feet is 1 pace. So it is 1 pace. From here, there are 2 paces. Then from here, there are total 3 paces are there. So this footstep is referred as a pace. So if you want to measure the length, then you can measure the paces, and by this you can measure the length of various measurements or length of various objects. Now we will discuss feet or foot. For foot, you have to place foot one after one simultaneously. Like this is 1 foot, here only 2 foot, then 3 foot, then 4 foot. So that's how you will measure the length by the help of foot. So that is also not reliable and accurate. Why? Your father must have a shoe number of 8, 9 or 10, whereas your mother has a foot number of or shoe number of 5 or 6. The length of the foot is not same for your father and mother. That's why the length of the foot, if they measure a distance, is not equal. So that is why the pace and foot are also not reliable. So we have discussed, bache, the earlier units produce certain inconvenience and non-uniformity in the measurement. So for the sake of convenience, for the sake of accuracy, for the sake of uniformity, सारी measurement एक जैसी ही हो बच्चे. For that we set certain standard units. तो बच्चे इन सी चीजों में यूनिफॉर्मिटी लाने के लिए हमने क्या किया, एक ही यूनिट को स्टैंडर्ड किया, and those units are known as standard unit of measurements. So what are they? The standard unit of measurements are those units which has a fixed quantity, that is fixed value, and does not vary from a person to another person. That means if we want to measure a length, that means a length is fixed as a standard, and that fixed standard cannot be changed from one person to another person. If I want to measure the length of a cardboard or length of a table, then the measuring tape which we use, bache, has the same meter value, whether it's in my house or whether it's in your house. So that is the standard unit, whose value will remain fixed and whose value does not change or vary from one person to another. That is known as standard unit of measurement. For that standard unit of measurement, bache, there is an agency set in a country, and that is NPL, National Physical Laboratory, situated in New Delhi, that have that standard meter rod and standard 1 kilogram mass. Rest all the masses are measured according to that. So that has the copy of that standard unit of 1 kilogram as well as of 1 meter. So NPL, which stands for National Physical Laboratory, situated in New Delhi, that has kept the copy of standard unit for meter as well as for the kilogram weight, as well as NPL also measures the time. It has the standard time, units as well. Next, bache, SI units, a very important topic for your question paper. SI means Standard International Units. These units are named on the basis of a French name. Standard International Units means the units which are standard, which set as a standard, which will remain fixed all around the universe and all around the globe. There are certain physical quantities along with the SI units are written on this board. The first one is length. If we want to measure the length, that is the distance, width, all those are measured in SI unit, that is meter, represented by a small m. The second is kilogram. The unit is kilogram. For quantity, mass. Mass is measured in kilograms. So the physical quantity is mass, and the mass is measured in which quantity, which unit? Kilograms. The next SI unit which we have to discuss is seconds. Seconds is the SI unit of time, or Standard International Unit for time. Next one is temperature. The degree of hotness or coldness is known as temperature, bache, and that degree of hotness or coldness is measured, SI unit is Kelvin. But the common unit in which you measure the temperature is degree Celsius. But the Standard International Unit for temperature is Kelvin.